What is up? Welcome back to Freed's First Time. I am Freed, and it is that time of year where we're going to discuss the year-end review of the whiskeys that I've tasted over the last year and just pick 5 that stood out to me over the last 12 months. These are just going to be whiskeys that I tried for the first time this year, and I'm not going to be doing a full review on any of them because I plan on doing that in the future. So we're just going to touch on them briefly and then move on to the next one. So, without further delay, let's talk about my 5 whiskeys of 2021. Talisker Portree. This is basically what I'm told is it's a non-age statement whiskey, but they're saying it's basically just a 10-year-old, but it was finished in port wine barrels. I tried this for the first time last summer at a whiskey festival in Beijing, and traditionally I don't like tasting whiskeys for the first time in such a social setting because there are so many distractions. I can't really focus, and I'm so easily influenced. It's difficult because it's just hard for me. So I usually need to do it privately or on my own or within a small group of people. And but this one kind of stopped me in my tracks because I am a fan of Talisker, but this one it was pleasantly surprising with the sweetness at the end, the complexity that it added to the normal 10, which is one of my favorites. I always have it on hand. And it is colored, it is chill filtered, although it's never been a big deal for me. One thing that I'm very confused about is why they put the ABV at 45.8, 0.2%, and that would release the need to chill filter it. So I don't understand what Diageo is thinking. I want some answers, please. But aside from that, this is fairly affordable, this is very available, and it is fantastic. If you dig Talisker, the Talisker 10, then absolutely give this a shot. You will not be disappointed, I guarantee it. Alright, so let's go to number 4. Next up, the Killholmen Snag. Again, it's another non-age statement whiskey because Killholmen is still a fairly new distillery on Islay. But a little digging, it says this one's like 4 or 5 years old, which is totally fine. Now, look at that color, first of all. That is dark for 4 or 5 years old. Tell you what. And it's said that is non-chill filtered, non-colored, and it was matured in 50% bourbon and 50% Oloroso sherry barrels. So you're going to get that's the Islay smoke, but it's also going to be married with this sherry sweetness that adds. The way I wrote it down in my notes as a wood oven cooked Hawaiian pizza. You're going to get some tropical, like almost pineapple-y notes in there along with the smoke and the sherry. You're going to get some raisins. And it's a fun ride to take if you have just a few minutes to really focus and hone in on it. It's a lot of fun. I really recommend it. Number 3 on the list. And by the way, these are in order of awesomeness. Number 3 on the list is the Edrador Caledonia. Speaking of sherry bombs, holy smokes. Speaking of dark whiskeys, holy smokes. That's like Coke color. That is so dark. And it honestly, and this is just full disclosure, if you put this in a glass and slid this over to me and said, "Hey, Freed, that is a really, really nice rum," I would believe you. I would totally, absolutely, 100% believe you. Because it has that, it's so ambiguous. I mean, I know it's a whiskey, so my brain tells me, Matt, you're drinking a whiskey, but if I didn't know, I would actually have to wonder, what exactly is this? It's super sweet. It is deep, is complex, like deep prunes, very mouth coating, and the bottle isn't that cool looking, but whatever, it is what it is. I'm not too big on aesthetics when it comes to liquor bottles. Well, actually, that's not true. That's not true at all. Anyways, but yeah, this thing caught me off guard, and I really enjoyed it, and I keep going back to it. So So this was matured in ex-bourbon barrels, but then it was finished in sherry barrels for another 4 or 5 years. That's quite a finish. I would say that's a second maturation personally, but that's just my opinion. But so hence that dark color, and it is 12 years old. So it's just great in every way, shape, or form. Price, availability, flavor. It is a winner. I assure you, pick it up. Okay, number 2 is the Edrador Abuna. Yeah, I'm late to the party. I'm very aware of this, and I apologize. I live in Northeast China, man. Availability with certain things, bourbons especially, it's really difficult. I'm at the whim of whatever these secondary market providers want to give me or sell me. But anyway, this is batch 69, and this was actually a late arrival to the list because I deliberately saved this for Christmas Day because I wanted it to be my Christmas drink. And man, did this thing impress me. I was so happy. What is it, 61.2% ABV. So a little bit of water would kind of tamp down that heat if it's a little bit overwhelming for you. But man, just a lot of sherry, a lot of complexity, long, and it will stay and hang out in your tongue for a while. You can make one glass last an hour and a half, I assure you. It would be very easily done. So if you like sherried whiskeys, this is 100% matured in Oloroso sherry barrels, I believe. Yes. Yeah, 100%. 100%. So no bourbon barrels whatsoever touch this liquid. So if you like absolute high-proof sherry bombs, grab the Abuna. And again, I know I'm late to the party, but I am officially a fan. So this brings us to number 1. The whiskey that I was most surprised by, the one that I enjoyed the most this year, and it might be surprising to you too, because it's not difficult, it's quite simple to find, it's very affordable, it's got a 12-year age statement, it's nothing extravagant, but it just took me aback. I was shocked at how much I enjoyed this and how much it made me think and how much I learned from drinking this. So, without further ado, let's check it out. It's the Mortlock 12-year-old. Surprise! Yeah, I mean, this thing just blew my doors off. I mean, it's only 43.4% ABV. It's 12 years old. It is colored. It is filtered. But man, I was just so surprised. I bought it on a whim. I poured it. Now, there might be a little bit of an asterisk because I did pour this for the first time after I did a sober month in November. So my palate was completely renewed and just ready to party. So that might have had an effect on it. But I've went back to it several times since then, as you can see, and it had the same effect on me every time. And I have been sharing this with my friends. I've been telling other people about it. It is just a fantastic pour. It's long. It tastes like it's way higher than 43.4% ABV. It's dry, it's salty, it was finished in bourbon and sherry barrels. It's got some vanilla elements, some dried fruits, some fresh fruits, and it is just a roller coaster ride of awesomeness on the palate, and I strongly recommend giving it a look-see. If you just buy a pour of it at a bar if you want to, and check it out so you don't have to buy a whole bottle. So, yeah. Mortlock 12-year-old, and it's fun to say. Mortlock. The Mortlock. Show me your Mortlock. Oh, you cannot see my Mortlock. That wasn't funny. But you get my point. It's fun to say, and the bottle's pretty cool as well. Look at that thick bottom. That's awesome. So, that happens to be my list of the top 5 whiskeys of 2021. Yes, they're all scotches. As I mentioned before, bourbon's not easy to get. So, maybe I'll do a bourbon list at some point, but not today. So that's all I got. I hope you enjoyed it. If you find any of these, buy a pour of it or buy a bottle. I recommend them. So that being said, see you next time. And I hope you have a happy and safe new year. And we'll see you in 2022.